Welcome to another episode of 5-Minute Book Reviews. Today we're going to be talking about Kisses from Katie by Katie Davis. This book is super important for any believer that's looking to go out into the mission field or go on short-term missions to help people around the world or even in their local area. Katie Davis is certainly an inspiration to me, but more on that later. Katie Davis is a young woman that lives in Africa right now, and she is currently hosting an orphanage there. And what she's doing is preparing these young women to go out into their worlds to minister to people, while also showing them that they themselves can start up their own ministries and businesses. And Katie Davis is quite an inspiration, not only to me, but to many people that I know, because she literally graduated from high school and then moved to Africa so she could start up this ministry. And this book, for me, is something that every believer should be able to take hold of and read for themselves. Personally, I have seen personal growth in my spiritual life, and I know that you could see personal growth in your spiritual life. Now, as always, here at 5-Minute Book Reviews, I'm going to take one thing out of this book and apply it to something that you all can actually go away with, and something that you may be interested in reading more about in her own book. But Kisses from Katie discusses something that's super important to me. It's the fact of saying yes to God. If you can say yes to God in one area of your life, that means you can say yes to God in any area of your life. And Katie does that for sure. I mean, her testimony is fantastic. I know that if some of you actually want to read the book, I don't want to spoil everything. But like I said, Katie graduated from high school and then she moved to Africa to start up this ministry on her own. It was quite a jump for her, and she was totally saying yes to God when she did it, because for someone to be asked by God to move at such a young age is awesome. But for that person to say yes to God is twice as awesome, because it shows you, as a believer, you can listen to God and say, hey, guess what? If they were obedient in that area, that means I can be obedient. And one thing that I stress to people when they're reading this book is not looking at it and saying, oh my gosh, all the things that she had to go through, all the trials that she may have had to go through to be able to get in contact with her children or get the resources that she had may have been hard. I wouldn't want you to focus on that. I would rather you focus on what she was able to do when she said yes to God, because she even points you back to that. She says, God brought me here for a purpose, and I'm going to stay here to fulfill my purpose. And she's still there to this day, as far as I know. And I want you to know that there are different ways that you can get involved in her ministry. I'll make sure to leave that in the link in the description below. But one thing that I think is interesting about her book as well is the fact that she shows what Jesus' love looks like. And when you can understand what Jesus' love looks like and you can communicate it to other people, that's what is amazing. Now, obviously, she gives multiple examples of where she has done this in her own personal life. And she even stresses this, and I'll stress it myself, that the best way you're going to understand what Jesus' love looks like is by getting inside his word. And so I encourage you each and every day is that you spend time within his word, and you're going to continue to see yourself grow more into the image and likeness of Christ, like it says in his word. And one thing that I want to finish up with, just talking about this book, is that it was a super conviction to me. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I was going on a mission trip a few months ago, and I had read this book before, but I decided to pick it up again and read it. And it was recommended to me by a family member who had reminded me about the events that they had gone through when they were thinking about going on a mission trip. And so, basically, after reading this book again and then going on the mission trip, I could see the perspective that she had when I was working with the people where I was working with when I was out of the country a few months ago. And I want you to understand that she provided a unique perspective from a young person's eyes that I personally needed to see, and I hope that one day you're inspired to see it as well. As always, if you ever have a book that you'd like to recommend to me, just please leave the title of the book and the author's name in the comment section down below. Besides that, I hope y'all have a great day. See y'all later.